BeEzrat HaShem, we're going to put this shiur online so you could watch it again, but I'll give you all of the halachot for PeSach in, I think, anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes. This is the minimum of minimum, meaning there's obviously a lot more details, but this, you do all of what I say, you're good. Okay? This is halachot of PeSach. Now, first and foremost, the month of Nisan. The month of Nisan, from Rosh Chodesh Nisan until the end of Nisan, there's something called Birkat HaIlanot, the fruit trees that grow. So if someone that sees a fruit tree, the beginning of the fruit starting to grow, you have to do a blessing of Birkat HaIlanot if you're seeing two fruits grow. That's the source of that is Shulchan Aruch 226 Seif Aleph, or the Gemara Masechet Brachot page 43b. I'll give you sources so you know where all of this is coming from, and Chas v'Shalom, you don't think it's my idea or some stringency or something. So Birkat HaIlanot, that's one thing. That's the easy part. If you have it, good. You don't have it, then you're patu. Second thing is Agalat Kelim. Agalat Kelim means that if you're going to use the same utensils as you did for the rest of the year, let's say, for example, you use the same pots and pans as you did for the rest of the year, it has to go to Agalat Kelim. If you cooked warm things in them, stew and things of that nature that are meat, then you have to go to something called libun. Libun is usually the Jewish communities, all Jewish communities have at least 1 or 2 or 10 people that do this libun, which is they burn the actual pot all over again with a blowtorch to make sure that they reopen all of the holes within that metal to remove all of the chametz from out of it, if you're going to use the same thing. Today, Baruch Hashem, on one end, it's very easy to get brand new. And number two, Baruch Hashem, most of Am Yisrael is in a decent financial shape that you can get, a brand new, or at least enough for the Chag, set of pots and pans from Walmart or from Amazon for $30. So most people don't do this libun, but in case you want to use the same pots and pans, you have to do this libun, where you use this blowtorch to make the things that you cooked hot things in with libun. If you made things that were cold, then it has to go to agala. Agala means that you have to put it in boiling water. You have to put this whatever tool that you're using in boiling water. And this is agalat kelim. Agalat kelim, agala comes from the source of removing something foreign. We get this from Parashat Bechukotai, the Sefer Vayikra, chapter 26, verse 11. Hashem says to Am Yisrael, "Velo tig'al nafshi etchem." Don't bring something foreign into yourself to the point where I'm disgusted by you because of this foreign object. There's something foreign that you're doing. So on PeSach, we're not allowed to bring the rest of the year with us. PeSach, we start new. Don't make Hashem disgusted. So the Agalat Kelim is if you use the same things. Now, for Sfaradim, anyone that's Sephardic, which I'm assuming is almost everybody here, there's a very big leniency when you're using glass. So glass cups and glass plates, you do not need to kosher them. You could actually use them all year round. For PeSach and for out of PeSach. You don't have to do anything. If you're Sephardic. If you're Ashkenazi, you have to do the same thing as what your tradition is. Now you can't be just Ashkenazi on PeSach or just Sephardi on PeSach and the rest of the year different. This is, by the way, one of the arguments that I forgot. Baruch Hashem, I learned it again today. Is one of the arguments when it comes to this wigs craziness that people say, yeah, but such and such rabbi says it's allowed. Yes, the reality is, even if what he says is right, you're still not allowed to do it. Why? Even if it's wrong what he says, but even if what he says is right, you're still not allowed to use it. Why? He's not your rabbi. You're not allowed to use multiple rabbis. You can't say, I'm Rav Ovadia all the way, except this. There's a Gemara in Masechet Rosh Hashanah, page 14, it says, if somebody takes all of the leniencies of Bet Shammai and Bet Hillel, he's a Rasha. You can't use the leniencies of both houses. What if he does the Chumras? He takes all of the stringencies of Bet Shammai and all of the stringencies of Bet Hillel. It says, Alav HaKatuv Omer, on him it's written, the fool will walk blind. The fool will walk blind. You can't use two poskim. You can't use two houses. If you're Rav Ovadia all the way. If you're Rav Yashiv all the way. Lubavitcher, whatever it is, one rabbi. You can't pick and choose rabbi. It's not a trick and treat bag. It's you have one rabbi. So this is also another thing. Next thing is cleaning out chametz. Cleaning out chametz also is mentioned in the Torah. It's removing all of the leavened bread from the house, all of the things that are chametz, whether it's pasta or other things like that, remove it. Now, disposing of the chametz comes from the Shulchan Aruch Or Chaim Siman 433. And it says that to get rid of the chametz, there's a couple of ways of doing it. Number one, if it's open type of chametz, it's an open box of pasta, it's an open candy, it's open potato chips or some other chips or something that's chametz, that's not a sellable item. You have to throw it out. Unless it's very, very expensive whiskey or wine or something like that, which people traditionally preserve over an extended period of time. If it's like a bag of some snack, that's not something that usually people keep. That stuff, you go and you burn it. You burn it during the time where they actually burn out the chametz, which is the day, the PeSach Eve during the day. Now, the stuff that is brand new, people buy more than they need. They go to Costco or Walmart or all these places. They buy more than they actually need, so they don't have to go to the store all the time. That stuff you sell. What do you mean sell? Do you have to remove it out of the house? No. You make one place in your house, a closet. You put all of the chametz there that's still brand new. You seal it or you put something on there so nobody opens it. You go to your local rabbi. You tell him, I want to sell my chametz. He's going to ask you, where is it located in the house? You're going to define where it's located. It's in the closet here, in the kitchen, and ta-ta-ta-ta. All the chametz stays there throughout the entire Chag. You're not allowed to open this closet, or whatever you put it into. And you sign a agreement with the rabbi that you sold the chametz. He's going to sell that chametz to some goy for the duration of the Chag. After the Chag is over, the chametz now goes back to you as your chametz. But this chametz is brand new stuff. It's not like beastly bags that you ate half of them. It's stuff that really, if you really had to sell it, somebody would buy it. No one's going to buy a half-eaten bag of beastly and a half a Snicker bar. So be realistic with yourself. If it's something real it's brand new, it's technically resellable, that the store would take back, then that's something that you keep and you sell the chametz. After you sold the chametz, then you have to check for chametz. Whatever, after you sold it and you burned it and everything, you also, the night before Pesach, you have to check for chametz. Now, the Rav Ovadia says that in this day and age, even though in the original Shulchan Aruch Siman 433, and also the Gemara Masechet Pesachim, page 2a, it says that you should do it with a feather and you should do it with a candle. He says today's age, it's okay to do it even with a flashlight. You even do it with a flashlight instead of a candle, because sometimes the candle fire can be very dangerous with the carpets and so on that we have today. So you can use a flashlight to check for chametz. Now the minag, there is a machloket, there's a debate whether this minag is a good one or a bad one. But the minag is to, if you clean the house, then you know there's probably not chametz. But the minag is that one member of the family, the wife, is going to hide 10 bags of chametz somewhere in the house, and the husband, and if he has kids, bring the kids along with him to show him to go find the chametz on his own without her telling him. Now, she has to know where she put it. She has to write it down, because in case he didn't find it, she has to find it. She has to get rid of it. But the point is that to show that at least he exerted all effort to find the chametz, that's the minag, that's the custom. The reason why some people say it's not a good custom is because some people forget where they hid stuff, and it stays in their house. So they have chametz in their house. So whoever's hiding it has to write down where they hid it. And usually they do 10 things. You put it in a Ziploc bag, you put a little piece of pita or some type of bread in a Ziploc bag, and somebody hides it in different spots in the house. And that's the minag. It's very, very fun for little kids to do it also with parents, for whoever has kids. Now the Shulchan Aruch in chapter 445a says you have to burn the chametz. Like I said, usually most of the Jewish congregations usually have one or two different congregations that have a big barrel where they have a fire where people throw their chametz in there. That's to burn the chametz. That's not sellable. After about 10 a.m. You have to check your local time because it's based on when the sun comes down and the sun comes up. It depends on your time. In New York, it's different than Florida and so on. There's usually around 10 a.m. Usually around 10 a.m. the night of PeSach. Before the Chag began, around 10 a.m., you're no longer allowed to eat chametz. Even though the Chag doesn't officially start till later on. The Seder is not till the night. You're no longer allowed to eat chametz as around 10 a.m. You have to check the exact time locally. Also, if you're a firstborn Jew, you have to fast. You have to fast all the way until the Seder. But there is a little trick to get out of it. There's a trick to get out of that fast. How? You go to a Beit Knesset that has somebody finishing a Masechet, finishing a tractate of Gemara. If you listen to him finish the tractate of Gemara, you don't have to fast because you can be part of the Sudat Mitzvah. No, if you're firstborn, you have to fast. Firstborn, you both have to fast, but it's easier to go find somebody finishing a Masechet because there's plenty of synagogues that have people finishing Masechet on Pesach. It's a very known tradition. Also, at around noon, again, you have to check the exact time. At around noon, you're no longer allowed to work. So if you have a business or you work for somebody or something like that, you have to finish before that. You're not allowed to work anymore. Even though the Chag officially starts later on, the Seder is later on, and so on, as of noon, regardless of what day of the week the Chag falls on, you cannot work anymore. Can't work in the stock market, can't work in the phone place, you can't work anymore. Pretty much your Chag, as far as no work part, are no longer allowed. Yeah. What if? Then you quit. Not allowed to work. Call in sick. Call in sick. If you were sick, he would tell you to still work. Okay, so call in sick. Call in sick. I'm sick today. I have a stomach ache. Or you can just tell my doctor told me not to work. Okay, so you can tell my doctor told me not to work. Which doctor? The Rambam. The Rambam was a doctor. Okay? My doctor told me not to work. The Rambam was a doctor. Permit. So it's true. So you're not lying. See? Good. Chazak u'baruch. You remind me. So you're not lying. You're telling the truth. The Rambam told you not to work, but you don't have to tell him it's the Rambam. You just tell him the doctor told me not to work. So that's it. Why? Huh? You have to find a new job if that's going to risk your job. If to not work for a few hours is going to risk your job, you have to find a new job. Because it's not a normal job. No normal person would fire somebody for not being able to show up. That's just it's freedom of religion, by the way. By the way, if anybody fire you, you could sue them. It's called freedom of religion. There's actually a right in America for that. If that person was a Muslim and they told him, listen, I'm not working because it's our Ramadan, it's our whatever it is, if the guy even peeps the wrong way, looks at her the wrong way or him the wrong way, she could sue him for millions, close down the business. It's called freedom of religion. So you don't have any excuses, Baruch Hashem, and trust me, if you do what Hashem wants, He'll make it so. So no more working afternoon. Again, check the exact time. You're also not allowed to eat matzah. Not matzah shmura, not matzah ashira, and not matzah regila. So what do you eat throughout the whole day until the Seder? You could eat chicken, you could eat meat, you could eat fruits, you could eat eggs, you could eat everything else except bread and matzah. You cannot eat. This is, again, Shulchan Aruch 471b. All of these have sources. Now, to prepare for the Seder is not just showing up, Rabotai. Don't just show up to the Seder. Because the responsibility of the Seder has a few different things. First off, eating matzah is not like we thought most of our life. As long as you take a bite, you're finished. Take a bite. You're supposed to eat matzah 4 times during the Seder and drink wine 4 times during the Seder. Take a little sip, take a little bite, you're finished. That's not right. The actual halacha is you have to eat each time that they say you have to eat matzah, you have to eat 30 grams of matzah. Now, if you're going to use the square matzah, 30 grams of matzah is, unfortunately, it's like almost more than one. It's like 1.5 of them. It's a lot. You have to eat this 4 times. So what a lot of people do is they eat tfera. Tfera is something that the Yemenites and a few other Sephardics have, which is like a soft matzah. It's a soft matzah. And the reason why they eat it, aside from it tasting a little bit better for some people, it's also more worth it because tfera, because it's thick, it's almost like pita, but it's kosher for Pesach, it's thicker. So 30 grams of this tfera is literally just one tiny little slice. So you don't have to eat so much of this matzah and not be able to eat the rest of the delicious food that's going to be available on the seder. But in general, you're supposed to prepare yourself 4 servings of 30 grams of matzah, whichever matzah you pick. Yeah. Oh? The ftera? Why not? Different custom for who? You're Sephardi, aren't you?
Yeah, but I heard one now that you can't just switch monthly.
It's not a custom. It's you're Sephardi. It's not the Av Bedin of Yerushalayim. Rav Gidon ben Moshe has a whole place where every year he makes ftera. He's not everybody's tradition. He's the Av Bedin. He's the head dayan in all of Yerushalayim. He makes it for people of all types. So obviously, it's not you're just excluded for just people that come from Yemen or Morocco or something like that. No, if you want to eat it, you can eat it. There's no problem with it. The second thing is that you have to make sure that you have 4 servings of 3 ounces of wine or 3 ounces of grape juice. It's better wine, but if you have grape juice, that's fine too. But it's 4 servings of it. 4 servings of it, and also 2 servings of maror. Maror is lettuce, Roman lettuce. Now, the servings of the lettuce, the maror, is kezait. So it's a relatively small piece. Make sure that it's not only a good size, but it also has no bugs. Because if you eat maror, if you eat the lettuce, and it has even a single bug on it, it's better off you didn't do the whole seder. Because each time you eat a bug, it's 6 different sins from the Torah. So it doesn't matter how many guests you have. If you have 5 guests, or you have 5,000 guests, you have to make sure that you know for sure that whoever is monitoring it, it's not some catering company. You're monitoring it, you know for sure somebody knows what they're doing when they're washing the lettuce, one by one, against the light, with salt, and so on, to make sure there's no bugs in the lettuce. And they unfold it, because if there's one bug in your lettuce, your entire seder has become one big sin. It's not impossible. It's not impossible. This is actually not even difficult. It's just that people are lazy. People are lazy. So, wash the lettuce. It's not impossible. Now, during the afternoon, one of the reasons why you can't work is because you have to rest. You have to rest during the afternoon. Take a nap for a couple of hours. And the reason why is because the biggest mitzvah of the seder, is not the matzah. It's not the wine. It's not the afikoman. It's not even sitting down with your family. The biggest mitzvah of the seder is the magid. The magid is going over the entire story of the Exodus. Now what? The Exodus to say that Am Yisrael was in Egypt, HaShem took us out of Egypt, He split the sea, finished, takes 5 seconds. No. We're talking about all of the midrashim, all of the things you know, all of the things you're going to start studying now about what happened there, the behind the scenes. If you don't have the books, get them. If you don't have the ability to get them, watch my shiurim. I have it online. Just type in Yaron Reuven, Exodus, or you could just send me a text and I'll send it to you. It shows you different details of what happened with each one of the plagues, what happened in Egypt, what happened at Yam Suf. There's a lot of midrashim, a lot of details of behind the scenes of what happened. And we need to know these things. We need to know where we came from. That's the biggest mitzvah in all of PeSach. Why? Because the Magid, you have to do it during dinner, after you finish dinner, and until you fall asleep. Until you have no power at all, and you fall asleep. There's no talking about baseball, there's no talking about basketball, or Bitcoin, or Schmidtcoin, or Pokemon, none of that. It's only Yetziat Mitzrayim. That's all you talk about. And if you have to bring a book. Now, what if you're with a bunch of people, and they start falling asleep? She went to sleep, he went to sleep, but you're still up. What do you have to do? You keep going. Who are you teaching? Yourself. You keep going. That's the biggest mitzvah of PeSach. The Magid. Why? Know where you came from. Know where you came from. It's very entertaining and usually the family loves it. So the Agadah, make sure you have enough Agadot for all your company, whoever is coming over. If they need English reading, make sure they have English. Be polite. Make sure if they speak a certain language, make sure you have an Agadah for them in their language. Don't be one of these people where you expect everybody to speak Hebrew, or everybody's going to speak your language. Okay? And also, if you have a guest, that doesn't speak your language, you cannot speak your language next to him. It's not polite. It's not polite to do that. If you guys speak, if you have 10 people, they all speak Hebrew, and one guy comes in, you invited him to the house, and he doesn't speak Hebrew, you can't speak Hebrew amongst each other. It's not nice. It's not nice to speak Hebrew amongst each other. Why? He thinks you're talking about him. And by the way, realistically, you probably are. Because if you did it, you would talk in English. So you have to learn that having a seder, having people over, is also having manners. Having manners. We can't make people uncomfortable because they don't know, or they're new, or they don't speak the same language. You have to speak in a common language to people. Make sure that if you're not comfortable speaking on language, don't invite them. Invite somebody else. So the seder you have to say the Agadah, go over the Agadah. Also, there's the obligation is to say the Hallel. The Hallel, the same thing like you say during Rosh Chodesh. You have to say the Hallel. When you eat the matzah and when you drink, we're almost done. When you eat the matzah and when you drink the wine, you have to do an aseva. Aseva means you have to lay down. And what each one of us have to do, you have to bring a pillow. You have to bring a pillow and lay on the pillow like you're lounging like a king or a queen. Now if a man forgot to do it, he just ate the matzah, he drank the wine, he forgot to go like this, then he has to do it again. If a woman forgot it, she could skip it. She doesn't matter. She doesn't have to do it. Why? Because it's not too modest for her to do it to begin with. So if she did it once, good. She didn't do it, she doesn't have to. Now, you have to leave yourself. I know there's going to be a big dinner, a lot of food, especially us Jews. We like food. So you have to understand, during dinner, don't eat to the point where you're about to explode. Eat just a little bit before. Why? You still have to have room for the afikoman. You have to eat the afikoman. That has to be the last thing your mouth tastes for the night. You cannot eat anything else. So don't do Birkat Hamazon until you're ready to pretty much call it the night. Because you're not going to eat anymore. There's no more eating after that. There's no candy, no fruit, no nothing. After dinner and afikoman, you're finished. So that's why make sure that you're ready to finish eating for the day, even though you're probably going to be up for a while longer talking about PeSach. Because you're going to watch my shiurim and you're going to know a lot about PeSach and about Yetziat Mitzrayim. So after the Seder, like I said, continue the stories about the Exodus. And then, Rabotai Yekarim, you have completed the Seder. The good news is, you have to do it all exactly the same, again, the very next night. Very next night, brand new. Now, if you live in the exile, you have to do it again the next night. Now, what happens if you're going to Israel? What happens if you're going to Israel? You went to Israel, they keep only one day over there. What do? Halacha is, if you're moving to Israel, officially, you're moving to Israel at that moment, you can be treated like an Israeli. Meaning, you keep only one day. But if you're just going to visit, you're still in the exile. You're just going to visit, you still have to keep 2 days, even though everybody else around you is keeping 1 day. That's your problem. And I know it's uncomfortable, and I know people don't like to keep this law, and so on and so forth. That's halacha. You want to change halacha? Talk to God, not me. I don't change halacha. The difference is that in the new month and the calendar was based on time that was determined in Israel. Now, because we didn't always have atomic clocks and clocks that were very exact like we have today, the way we determine time is based on Rosh Chodesh and when the moon would show up in the sky. So by the time it arrived in Israel, they would determine this is a new month. Now by the time the news traveled to the exile, whether the exile is in Spain or in Egypt or somewhere else, it could be even a day later. Even though it was relatively a fast system because they would have a lighting system on top of mountains where the guys that would see it and say it's officially a new month, they would light a light, and the guy that's in a top of another mountain 10 miles away would see the light and he would light a light, and then a guy another 10 miles away would see the light, and it would travel pretty fast to the destination. It wasn't like some horse had to travel half the country. It's not like people think. Am Yisrael was always the geniuses. We weren't stupid ever. Baruch Hashem, we were always smart. It was a relatively smart system. But still, there's always a chance that there's a flaw in the system. There's a delay in the system. Somebody got injured. Somebody got this. It could always be a delay of a day. Up to a day they give it. So they say maybe they started the month a day late. So because of that, their holidays in the exile, all over the exile, America, Egypt, anywhere out of the exile, must be 2 days. Why? So they celebrate the main Yom Tov on the same day regardless. So it's better that they have 2 Pesachs rather than starting on the wrong day of Pesach. Why? Because if you eat chametz on Pesach, it's karet. It's the worst sin in Judaism. So it's better you keep extra than make a mistake and start it late. But in Israel, since the time is the time. So now today we have clocks that tell us exactly the time everywhere around the world, but we still keep 2 days. And the reason why we keep 2 days is because once there is a custom for Am Yisrael that's already generation after generation after generation for hundreds and hundreds of years, we're not allowed to change. Shalom v'cha, chaverim ikarim. The Pesach is among us. Of course, everyone understands the dire situation in the world. But from our perspective, the most tragic situation right now is that we have tens and tens of millions of dollars going to foreign countries to help some people that may or may not be our friends and our brothers, may or may not be Jewish, while our own brothers that are, verified our brothers in our backyard in Eretz Yisrael, in the Efraim communities, in Bnei Brak, in Tel Zion, in Yerushalayim, in Netanya, in literally every part of Eretz Yisrael are struggling to make ends meet with the skyrocketing inflation in Eretz Yisrael, with the abuse by the government, and more than anything else, by the lack of concern of some of the donors that are out there, where a lot of money is going to help Ukraine and help a lot of other causes, while the world of Torah and the world of poverty continues to get worse. So we had to take desperate measures in these desperate times, and anyone that saw my shiur saw that we did it just in the last 24 hours. We don't have millions of dollars. We had a few $100,000 in the account, and we simply took almost all of it, and $250,000. We sent it to Rami Levy supermarkets to buy the gift cards. This is the contract with Rami Levy. This is the wire transfer. We have to do 2 wires to save some money from the banks. But the point is that this is enough to feed, probably 8,000 people, 10,000 people, give or take. And we haven't started a campaign. We haven't raised a single dollar. We don't even know if anybody's going to help. All we know is that our brothers don't have money to eat matzah, to buy matzah, to buy the basic needs for Pesach. And some of them work, some of them work and learn. Literally, the struggling is coming from everywhere. So we figured that in order to show HaShem that we love Him, and to show Him that we love His children too, we have to do something that was necessary as part of our love of HaShem, as part of our love of His people. If you want to be partners with us, you're more than welcome to. The campaign is on bhpesach.org. As I said, I already sent the money. If you want to be part of it, you're more than welcome to. If we get more than what we already sent, surely we'll send that too. If we don't get anything, then at least we know that close to 10,000 Jews are going to be able to eat. Either way, you never lose out by doing a mitzvah, and at the very least, we're able to have the merit to do so. We'd love to see you as our partners, as some of you have in the past, and BeEzrat HaShem will continue to help Am Yisrael both spiritually and physically in any way that we can. Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Amen ve'Amen.
אחיי ואחיותיי היקרים, אנחנו נמצאים כמה ימים לפני חג הפסח של שנת תשפ"ב. אנחנו נמצאים, כולנו, כל עם ישראל, בתקופה מאוד 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 לא פשוטה. לא רק שזה אחרי הקורונה ואחרי כל הסכנות שהיו בחשש ההידבקויות הנוראות, התחילה תקופה של פיגועים בארץ ישראל. צערנו התקיים בנו הפסוק, מחוץ תשקל חרב ומחדרים אימה. אנשים מפחדים לצאת לעבוד, אנשים חוששים. כלל גדול לימדו אותנו חז"ל, ותפילה ותשובה וצדקה מעבירים את רוע הגזרה. יש לכם הזדמנות כאן לבוא ולעזור למשפחות נזקקות, משפחות של בני תורה, משפחות של אנשים צדיקים וישרים, שארגון בעזרת השם החליט לבוא ולעזור להם לחגוג את הפסח כבני חורין. בואו והצטרפו אל הזכות הגדולה הזאת, והזכות שלכם בוודאי תעמוד לכם ולהגן עליכם ולשמור עליכם ועל כל אחד ואחת מבני משפחותיכם בכלל כל עם ישראל. כל הצדקה שנתרמת לארגון בעזרת השם הולכת 100% לנזקקים. אין עמלות, אין אחוזים, אין כלום. הכל הולך לנזקקים שיקנו אוכל ויוכלו לחגוג את חג הפסח בשמחה ובניצה. אהוביי, ההזדמנות הזאת היא הזדמנות מיוחדת שהקדוש ברוך הוא גלגל לידיכם. אל תעמדו מנגד, עלו על העגלה בדרך אל הגאולה. תודה רבה.